Hello and welcome to the United Stand. Alexis Sanchez potentially leaving Manchester United in the next 12 months. That's part of the news tonight. We'll also be talking about Marcus Rashford, Jose Mourinho and a few other things. But I'm delighted to have Pat Burns on tonight from the Manchester Munich Memorial Foundation. Evening to you, Pat.
Evening, Mark. Evening, all.
Now, we did do the chat a few weeks ago with Tony at Hotel Football, me and Flex, and the plan is to build up to something that's going to be really special on November the 23rd. Now, for all the United Stand members who are watching tonight or not watching live, I did say we had a big giveaway to give away tonight. We've basically, let's just start off with, we've got this event on the 23rd of November, Pat. What's that all about?
So that's a gala dinner, which we have arranged. It's going to take place at Hotel Football on Friday the 23rd of November. And that's the start of a weekend visit by some important people to us. Really should be to all United fans coming over from Munich. They're going to come and be our guests for the weekend. Manchester United are going to host them at the Palace game on Saturday with club hospitality. But we're kicking off the weekend with a gala dinner. In honour of them, to pass on our thanks and appreciation for everything they do over in Munich on our behalf. They're called the Red Dots of Munich. Not many people might have heard about them, but they're some great guys. And the gala dinner, we've got Tony, who's going to compare the evening for us. We've got members of Harry Gregg's family coming over from Coleraine. You know, Harry to us is an absolute hero, a legend and a pure gentleman. So we're very delighted to have his family coming over. We've got Paddy Crerand coming out. There's going to be some great United fans out there. We've got a fantastic auction with some superb pieces of real artwork that have been donated to us from fans from all over the world. And really we're looking to put the Manchester Munich Memorial Foundation firmly on the map. We do raise money. We're a not-for-profit company. We are just basically down-to-earth United fans, lifelong United fans who want to preserve and enhance the legacy of the Busby Babes and pass it on to future generations. And coming on your show is a great way of doing that because you reach out to the youth, all the young people who follow United from around the world. It's a great channel. People can voice their opinions and that generates debate, and that really is what football's all about. So we're delighted you're coming, and I'm pretty sure your lucky winners are going to have a fantastic evening in the company of the Red Dots and the Manchester Munich Memorial Foundation.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to talk a little bit more about the Manchester Munich Memorial Foundation in a few minutes' time because we want to go through some of the topical stuff as well and sort of intersperse it tonight because it's great for us as the United Stand to have people like Tony and Pat on the show, and there's a lot of people involved with the foundation. But obviously, I've said before, the reason I support Manchester United is because of my granddad. I think it's so important to understand the story about what United's all about. But the great thing about this prize is it's £100 a ticket. There's a link in the video description. You can just go and buy a ticket, buy a couple of tickets if you want to go. Hotel Football, 23rd of November. It's the night before Crystal Palace game. So you might be able to get yourself a ticket for that on the Saturday as well. But we will be there. United Stand, we've bought a whole table. We've bought a table of 10 and we have 4 seats available that we're going to give away to 4 lucky winners. So £100 a ticket, you get your meal, you get people like Paddy Crerand, Pat, Tony, the Red Docs will be there. It'll be a great evening. Close to Christmas as well, so we're sort of thinking a bit of a Christmas party as well. So it's going to be a great night right next to Old Trafford, and we're really looking forward to it. And we're really, it's fantastic that we'll be able to give it away to some of you lot. So how do you enter? All you got to do is you can either go through the links are in the video description. You can buy yourself a ticket if you don't think you're going to win the prize. That's a good way of getting it. Or you can go through to our Instagram page or my Twitter where I've put up an image. I think both have got the same image. It's United Stand with the outside Old Trafford. Just put underneath there why you want to win this ticket, where you're from, and what Manchester United means to you, and we will pick 2 winners from each of those, and that's how you enter. So we'll come back to that in the end in a few minutes. But let's talk about this Alexis Sanchez rumour, Pat. You actually were at the game on Sunday. You did a fan cam for us. I'm sure some people may recognise you from that. You were talking about Lindelof, which I thought was very, very good. But Alexis Sanchez, this is I'll put my hands up and say it's in the Sun, so it's probably a load of nonsense. But having said that, the Sun, they have been right in the past. Neil Custis does seem to have links into United. But Alexis Sanchez, we bought him in January. He's rumoured to be on £500,000 a year. The rumour is that potentially United might look to offload him. We didn't spend any money on him, but we do pay him half a million. It's not been the best 8 months for Alexis Sanchez. I think everyone would agree with that. But a lot of people just feel that Mourinho's not getting the rest out of him. What are your thoughts on Alexis Sanchez? Because you get down to a lot of the games, don't you?
I do, yeah. I mean, if we were paying him £500,000 a year, I'd be happy, but £500,000 a week.
Sorry, a week, yeah.
You want to be seeing a return on that investment. I know there wasn't a transfer fee that came with him. He's struggled to find his feet. He's not produced his best. I mean, let's face it, the guy is world class. So, why is he not getting regular games in his preferred position, in a number 10 or up top? He's playing him out wide. He's been out of position. You can see the guy's not happy. If you think about £500,000 a week, you think about all the saga we had in the August transfer window about wanting to strengthen the squad. Putting 2 and 2 together, I would say there's a decision if we're going to be supporting Jose going forward. You're going to have to offload some of your squad, and it's a big, heavy squad. £500,000 a week, that's going to go some way to bring in some quality people in either fullback or central defence for me. It's a shame it's not worked out for him. I do like him. I think he's a great player. Why has Jose not got the best out of him? Is he alone? Is he getting the best out of all his players?
Well, I was going to say that actually, because just to we're talking, obviously the Manchester Munich Memorial Foundation. It's to do obviously with the Busby babes, and we lost a lot of them in that tragedy. Marcus Rashford turns 21 today, Halloween. It's scary to think he's 21 already. It doesn't seem that long ago since he was scoring goals as a teenager for United. But many people would say Rashford sort of, over the last 2 years under Jose, and Anthony Martial to a certain extent, they've, not that they've been terrible, but they've not quite gone where we would have thought in the last 2 years. I watched Rashford at the weekend. I think Lukaku's been poor lately, but Rashford, what do you think about Rashford? Do you think... I mean, some people think, I've said it myself, I don't want this to happen, but I could almost see it would be better for him if he went off for a loan for a year to someone like Bournemouth and played up front every week. I feel like he needs to play every week, but I don't know where he fits in the United team at the moment.
Oh, I do. He does play every week, and he plays up top for us.
Yeah.
This is England's future centre forward. He'll be up there with Harry Kane for years to come. He's electric, that kid. And, play him in his preferred position. He doesn't like being out wide.
No.
Either put him up top or stick him just off Lukaku if you are going to play them both. But for me, he didn't have a great game on Sunday, but the movement he made, and he had those defenders on their toes all the time, and that allowed Pogba to look up, see what was going on in front of him. There's nothing worse than getting the ball at your feet and you've got 2 or 3 people around you, and you look up and you want to see what your options are. And if you haven't got any, then you're turning and you're playing it back. And that's not what United fans want to see. So Rashford gives you that option, as does Martial. And Ashley Young on the other flank. They were getting themselves into some great positions. And before Lukaku came on, Pogba, Matic... Mata, they were finding them because they were making the runs. For me, the top 3 should be Mata, Rashford and Martial. I mean, I'd have Alexis up there, but if he's going to be offloaded, I mean, personally, I do believe everything I read in the Sun, but that's just going back 20, 30 years because I think the Sun's always right. I can see him thinking, he's not working for me, and I can release some money and bring in some. I'm pretty sure that's what Woodward would have told him to do. He needs to trim down some of that squad if he wants to bring people in January.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting you say that because Lukaku's a 75 million striker. Alexis Sanchez, as I wrongly said, 500,000 a year. I think we'd all do that, 500,000 a week. But you talk Rashford, Martial, Mata, and I think I saw something really interesting today. In fact, we tweeted it out on the United Stand, and it was like, since Sir Alex Ferguson's left, there's 3 players who've got the most goals and the most assists since Sir Alex Ferguson left. And it's the same 3 with the assists and the goals. It's Rooney, Martial and Mata for both. And that says a lot because Martial and Mata haven't really been playing for the last 8 months. But it just shows when we bring them back into the team and we look exciting again. And I love what you said about Rashford as well, because I was talking about that after the game as well. I don't think he played very well, but it's what he brought to the team, maybe not on the ball, his movement. You could see that their centre-backs were scared.
Exactly, he did just that, and Martial, I thought, had a top game. He's quality. We've got some great young players, and we've had the Busby babes, we've had the class of '92. We've got some real quality, and if we are going to start closing the gap with City, particularly, I mean, Liverpool, if they don't win anything, you can see that team falling apart and that manager going. That's just the way the world is these days. But if we invest now right in our youth and get back to playing football the way United should play football, I think we'll all be happy.
Yeah, definitely. For those people who are joining a little bit late, we've got Pat on from the Manchester Munich Memorial Foundation. We've already spoken about a giveaway. We'll speak about that again in a few minutes' time. But it's a real pleasure to have Pat on. I mean, this is a sort of a relationship that we're building between the two. Very, very important, but also really important to get someone like Pat, who's followed United for years and years and years, and has quite rightly talks about sort of the young demographic that we have on the United Stand. But look, one of the things personally I wanted to ask you about was about Jose Mourinho, because you talk about Rashford there in the youth, and one thing that Mourinho doesn't and never really has had on his CV, and I don't really blame him for this. I mean, the board should have been looking at this when we brought him in. His youth record isn't that great. That's why he buys people like Matic and Sanchez, because they are the ready identikit player. Jose Mourinho is Manchester United manager. What are your thoughts on him at the moment? Starts the season year 3. Do you think he can turn it round? Is he the man for you?
I think he's a brilliant manager. He's not the kind of man who's going to put his arm round you. Not that we see. He's pretty much old school. If you think about Sir Matt Busby, Alex Ferguson, Sir Alex. They knew how to look after the young boys. They commanded the respect, but they had that caring father figure attitude as well. I'm not quite sure he's got that.
No.
Everybody's got their different leadership and different management style, and for me, it comes out a little bit too often in the public with stuff which I think should stay within the club, within the dressing room. When he was first touted as coming, I mean, I would have had him as a replacement for Sir Alex.
Yeah, I would, yeah.
And then we wouldn't have gone into the Moyes Van Gaal era, which really, they weren't able to paper over the cracks like Sir Alex was doing. And it's all down to investment at the end of the day. Mourinho is a winner, and he has won stuff with us. I always thought to myself, well, if he can be humble enough to understand that he's got the greatest job in the world, and keep himself off the pages and keep his football and his team on the pages, then he'd be a nice fit, because I liken it to Eric Cantona when he came. He was a right character before he came to United, and he learnt that humility, and I'm not quite sure Jose has got it. But what do we do if we get rid of him?
Yeah.
There's all this talk about Zidane. You're going to pay millions to get rid of Jose. You're going to pay another load of money to bring Zidane in. That's just going to bump the debt up. He doesn't like players. He has to change the squad again. I was saying to Flex on Sunday, I really think this team is going places. I really do. And I think we're only 1 or 2 players away from being a top quality first 11. I was just making some notes before. We've got a tremendous bench. We've got tremendous squad players who would jump into other Premier League teams. So it's only fine tuning for me, and now is not the time, to be thinking about changing jockeys.
Yeah, no, and I sort of thought that might be the route you went down. I mean, there's a few people in the live comments. I mean, Michael Jones saying he's a good manager, but he's not. He's just not a United manager. Which is, you know what, I backed Mourinho for a couple of years, and this season I just sort of, I think that sort of sums it up what my issue is with him, and I think you touched on it a bit as well. I don't know whether Jose. It feels like it's Mourinho United. I think he doesn't grasp what the club's all about. That sort of, like you said, take himself off the papers and allow United to be like Sir Alex did. He always understood that nothing was bigger than the club. I suppose the most important thing is that I just don't think, at the moment, Bournemouth, I think maybe we'll win it. We played really well at the weekend, and I agree with you. I think the squad's good. I just never trust him to pick the right team. I just wouldn't be surprised if in the next couple of games, Rashford's back on the bench, Lukaku's up front, Fred's back on the bench, Fellaini's back in the team, and I just wish he would let the horses run freely. It's his line, and just let United just be a little bit more offensive. Because football at the moment, bloody Liverpool up the road, City, Spurs, even Chelsea, they're playing a good brand of football, and our football just doesn't feel very Manchester United.
No, and he is a defensive coach, but we're not strong defensively. We've not been good enough in midfield to protect a wobbly, changeable back four. He needs some stability, some consistency. And you look at the work that Fred did on Sunday. Him and Matic for me is silk and steel. He can break up play and he can get us moving forward. He's not the quickest in the world. Fred is an absolute grafter, and he goes around that pitch just like Roy Keane used to do. So he's getting the right balance and getting us on the front foot. Personally, I hope he doesn't change. We are far better when we are attacking than we are trying to control, contain, defend. There's no two ways about it.
We've proved that in the last few weeks, haven't we? Well, we've
absolutely.
had to attack.
Yeah, look at that second half performance at Chelsea. They were just chalk and cheese in the two halves. They were fantastic, and we've got incredible pace if he uses it right, and if he gets that protection in front of that back four, like he's got with Matic and Fred, freeing Pogba up to spread the play and to run the game from midfield, and then you've got those live wires on the wings with Lingard to come into it if you wanted to as well. It's a nice mixture of dynamics there. That's why I was saying on Sunday, we're not a million miles away. We need to have a bit of patience, and there might be a bit of fine tuning, but I do believe this team is going places.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? It's great to get that sort of an opinion. There's a lot of people on the United stand who've just, sort of given up on Jose. I suppose I have to a certain extent, but I did say on Sunday, there's no malice in my body at all about this. If Mourinho won the next 10 games, I'd turn it around. I'm just not going to be one of those fans who flip-flops. I'm not going to go, we've won one game, I'm back in now. It took me a lot to sort of turn against him a little bit. But I agree with you. I think the best thing that can happen for United is that Mourinho gets this team going, because the amount of money it will cost to get a new manager in, to get rid of Jose, to get a new squad in, and will it work? And that was going to be my next question, really, is, 2 weeks ago, there was talk that he was going to be sacked before the Newcastle game. Gary Neville obviously came out and said it would be a disgrace. It's the board that's the problem with this club. I mean, do you trust this board to give Jose the time to do it, or do you think that's part of the problem with United at the moment?
Do I trust the board? I think that they are managing a multi-billion-pound multinational corporation, and it's all about money for them. I think they are disconnected from people like us, from what Manchester United means to us. I think they're smart when it comes to money, and I think they'll be looking at their investments right across the club and looking for return on those investments. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about these days, unfortunately. You think about when Samat retired, we went into free fall. I mean, I don't know how many of your listeners or your viewers were around then, but some of the managers we had, we just went from being European champions to being relegated within 5 years, and we went into free fall. And we had some appalling managers, and then we became a cup team, and then Sir Alex came, and a lot of your viewers, they say he's not a Manchester United manager, Jose, but all we've known is Sir Alex, and how blessed were we to have him for 26 years?
Yeah.
You know, it will never be seen again. So I think it's unfair to say he's not a Manchester United manager. I think he's doing a damn sight better job than Moyes did. I think he's doing a damn sight better job than Louis van Gaal did. Not to mention some going back decades, but you know, he's won the Europa League. He just needs some time, and he probably does need a little bit more investment. And people will say, well, you spent 50 million on Lindelof and 50 million on Bailly. I was saying on Sunday, Lindelof, he's a quality central defender.
Brilliant the last 2 games, doesn't he?
He's been superb. You know, for me, Eric Bailly, he's a great defender. He sells himself. He gets exposed too much. But you've got to say that's down to lazy midfield in front of him at times as well. So we have got steel and we have got silk and we have got pace right throughout this team. It's just a question of finding those right blends at the right time against the team that you're playing. But, you know, if he's learned anything over the course of this season, it's got to be we're a far better team when we're going after people than when we're trying to sit back containing them.
Yeah, I you know what, I think that is the way. And I mean, whether Mourinho's future is hanging by a thread, or whether Madrid want him, or whether the board are going to back him or not, I do hope that sat in that Lowry hotel, he's sat there thinking, you know what, I've just got to go do what I've been doing. I've got to keep picking Martial. I've got to keep going on the front foot, because I don't think he'll get much criticism if he lets us go. It's when we don't seem to be able to do what the traditional Mourinho sort of defensive side. It doesn't really suit your Pogbas and your Martials and your people like that. But so make sure everyone's dropping a like on the video. It's great to have Pat on from the Manchester Munich Memorial Foundation. Just a little bit of a reminder about that then. So on the 23rd of November, we've got this gala dinner that Pat was talking about at Hotel Football. Tickets are £100 each. It's going to be a fantastic evening, and you can get those through the link in the video description. But we, the United Stand, are giving away 4 tickets. You can get, it's going to be a bit like a United Stand Christmas party as well. It's the night before we play Crystal Palace. It's going to be a really great evening. There's an auction. There's going to be some real top United fans there. It'll be a really good night just to have a few drinks and interact with people and talk about and find out about what happened and what the Red Docs from the Munich Hospital are about. You can enter this. All you need to do is, there's the 2 links in the video description, one to our Instagram page, one to my Twitter. There's a picture there with the Holy Trinity and United Stand on the Old Trafford Stadium. Just put a comment on there. Just put a comment under that image as to where you're from, why you'd like to go, and what Manchester United means to you, and we're going to pick the winners from that. But Pat, I mean, talk me through this Manchester Munich Memorial Foundation as to, you know, its origins, what the sort of vision of it is, because it's not just about Manchester, is it? There are things in Belgrade, in Munich.
Absolutely, yeah. So probably about 18 months before the 60th anniversary, about 50 or 60 of us got together to start to talk about how we could commemorate the 60th. I think by the time and we have big memorials every 10 years. By the time it comes to the 70th, a lot of us will probably not be around. Anyway, from that initial meeting, a committee of 10 people was set up to take it forward, and we set about initially working with the city of Munich, with the mayor's office in Munich. Through the city works department, we were able to put a memorial bench at Manchester Platz, which is the new memorial site in Trudering in Munich. And we were put in touch with a couple of children's charities, which really resonated with us because, you know, football, Busby babes, youth, the kind of people that we were coming up through the 50s, 60s, 70s in Manchester, which was a hard city in them times. These 2 charities, one of them is called Bunks Kids Guts, that's a street football charity. And a lot of their children are kids who have sort of, you know, fallen off the beaten path, lost their way, and through football are being, you know, reintegrated back into life in Munich, and it's a really great cause. The other one, Picasso Libero, they look after children from all over the world who've come to settle in Munich, and again struggling to get a foothold into German life, and through football, they are bringing nationalities from all across the world together. So we thought they were two brilliant charities, which we've supported. We set up a tournament between them, which they played only this month, 7th of October. And they played it at the Olympia Stadium in Munich. So these kids were able to play football against each other for the Manchester Munich Memorial Trophy, which is going to be played for every year in honour of the babes. And next year, for example, all those adults from those charities, all those children, they'll be there with us in Munich. Insofar as Belgrade goes, Harry Gregg, I've mentioned him before. He's very dear to our hearts. If you don't know who Harry Gregg is, then please go away and read up about this man. He was our goalkeeper. He was in the crash in 1958 and survived it. And
went back in to get some people out, didn't he, as well?
Yeah. The word hero and legend is bandied about far too easily these days. This man, having gone through a plane crash, went back to a burning plane and pulled out Dennis Viola and Sir Bobby Charlton. We wouldn't have had them. They went on to lead England, then, two players, and won the World Cup in '66 for England. Well, Harry Gregg was the only person who went back into that plane, which is why, on the 23rd of November, his family's coming over. Sadly, he's not well enough to travel, but his daughter will be speaking to everybody on behalf of Harry. We went over to see him in June, Tony and myself, and one of the other directors, Tony Crook, and another one of our committee, Martin McVarnock. He invited us over. Well, he knew we were coming over. He invited us to stay at his house for a weekend, this man. And we were able to bring him the ribbons, framed ribbons we gave him from the wreath that our fans laid in our name at the event. And he was just completely overwhelmed, lost for words, which is pretty strange for Harry. So we're all about preserving, enhancing the legacy of Munich, doing it in the right way, making sure we pass it on to future generations. So we're not only concerned about Harry and Bobby over here, Sir Bobby over here, through the hospital, through the Rex de Rissar Hospital in Munich, where we unveiled some artwork in February, right at the very place in the hospital where Sir Matt and our boys were treated and where we lost some of them. There are 6 living souls over in Munich who actually came and looked after and cared for our boys, doctors and nurses. So through the hospital, we're in touch with them. We brought 3 of them to the 60th memorial with us. There was 3,000 United fans there. United themselves sent Dennis Irwin and Alan Dawson, the club secretary. They'd never seen anything like it. It was bigger than the big 10-year ones that take place in Old Trafford, where they get people inside the stadium. But normally every year outside there's a cluster of maybe 200, 300 people. We've been there when there's been 20, 30 people there. Yeah. But we had 3,000 United fans travel to Munich out of their own pocket to be there, because many of them knew that the next time this comes round in 70 years, they just wouldn't be there. And it was well, you were there. I mean, you weren't there, sorry, Mark, but Flex was there. He saw it. He filmed it for you guys.
Yeah.
It was just humbling to be there. So you go onto our website, munich58.co.uk, go down to the bottom half of the page, and you'll start to see a load of information about who we are, what we do. So we're all about preserving the Busby Babes through charitable work. We are going over to Belgrade shortly to find a suitable organisation there that we can support in Harry's name and in our name. We're also going to support charities in Manchester, and they will probably rotate, but all that's got to be decided. Another great thing we're doing, I think your viewers might find this interesting. Every year we're going to send somebody to Munich to represent the fans of Manchester United every year, and we will be there with that person. The only stipulation is they can never have been before, and they must bring a child or a grandchild with them.
It's a good idea, yeah.
And they will read out the names of the 23 souls who lost their lives, including 8 of our players, and they will lay a wreath, and we will sing the flowers of Manchester. And as the generations move forward, we're sort of making sure we shape it in the right, dignified way as the generations pass through. So, at the appropriate time when we open it up for nominations, if you've got people who fancy being the fans' representative, we have a draw just like you're doing for the dinner. We will draw a name out of the hat at our end of season reunion. We have those every May. We get a United player to come and draw that out for us. And the guy who's going next year, he's 83. He's been to every cup final since 1948, this chap. But he's never been to Munich, and he's bringing his 14-year-old grandson. And obviously we will be there. It'll be slightly different. There'll be, maybe a couple of hundred people there. It won't be the thousands, but it will still be poignant and it will still be memorable.
This is it. And you know what? If people are watching thinking, what's this got to do with me? I want to talk about Alexis Sanchez. Look, this is important because as Pat says, this is you. You are the next people, if you are real United fans, to learn this and to take it on to the next generations. And you know what? I always like to make things topical. And at the weekend there was the tragedy with the Leicester City chairman dying in a helicopter. And I look on social media and I see United fans tweeting about it, Liverpool fans, City fans. Everybody's really upset. Quite rightly so. It's a tragedy. But you know what? If you can't resonate with something that happened in 1958, think about what happened to Leicester at the weekend, and then think about one of the best teams there's ever been. And most of them, a lot of them can't play again, some of them even losing their lives. And that's what Manchester United faced. Not losing their chairman, then they nearly lost their bloody manager as well. But they lost a lot of players, the club was on its knees, and that's what our club's all about. And that's why the work that Pat and Tony and everybody else involved in the Manchester Munich Memorial Foundation do is fantastic, because it's not club run. It's an independent thing, which I think is always the best, because you get real people who really care about it involved. The link's in the video description for the website. Go and have a look at it. There's a visitors page, so you can leave a little note there. I was reading before we went live about lots of people saying I wasn't alive then, but it's the story. It's like Flex. He didn't really understand what it was all about. We sent him over there with the camera guy. He came back and he said, I get it now. I get what this club's all about now, and I didn't really before. So it's not something to be ashamed of if you don't. But it's certainly something that you can get involved with, Tony, and spread that legacy. It's so important for our club.
Well, I can talk about Alexis Sanchez. I can talk about the colour of Paul Pogba's hair or Nemanja Matic's boots. But running through the heart of every Manchester United fan, in your blood, in your DNA, in your heart, should be Munich, the Busby Babes, what Sir Matt Busby did for us and for English football, and Jimmy Murphy, rising out of the ashes of an absolute catastrophe to become the greatest football club in the world, the greatest football team in Europe. We did it first. We were the trailblazers. That's what Manchester United is. That's why you're following Manchester United now. That's the kind of club we are. You should be proud of it. You should embrace the history, embrace the heritage, understand. Some of our current players, the likes of Herrera and Mata, they've gone away and they've researched and read up on all this, and that's why, they get it. When they're talking to United fans, they understand why we are just so passionate about our football club.
We did something in Hotel Football the other day with some people, like a bit of a fan. About 10 of us from different generations sat round, and despite it's not been the best season, and everything like that, it only takes a couple of sentences talking about why you love United, and you start going through the history, even our history, not talking about the tragedy, but like what we've done and what we're all about. And United are many things, but for me, in a sentence, with the greatest story ever told, it's got the tragedy, it's got the resurrection, it's got the success. It's got the history, and you talk about legends from other clubs, and you can go. I know that Duncan Edwards is a legend because my granddad worshipped him, and he died in '58. But you look at United's legends, even the ones that some of your younger viewers will know, whether it's Cantona or Keane or Giggs or Scholes or whoever it is. Liverpool fans, they've got Dalglish and Hansen and Souness. It's not the same. And we've got tiers to our legends. We've got top legends who are like, statues in gold. We've got so many. We've got such a great club, and it's so important.
We've got Sir Matt and Sir Alex. They've got Bill and Bob. Let me bring it round full circle. We were talking about attacking football. Here's a quote from Sir Matt Busby. His team talk, go out there. These people who've come to see you have worked hard all week, and they're spending their hard-earned money to come and see you play football. Go and entertain them.
Exactly.
That's what Manchester United is.
And sometimes something very simple like that would be well suited to a dressing room nowadays. I mean, I don't like to speculate. You talk about Herrera and Mata there. I think for foreign players, Evra was the same. They've learned our history and they understand it, and that is great. And I don't know whether all our players know it. I would hope they do, because they would understand what the club is all about then. But as fans, I'm not going to criticise you and say if you don't know the full story, that's fine. But certainly
not.
If you do learn it, it will only enhance your love of this great football club. And it really is great.
It can only do that. It can only do that.
Mad Marcus says, love this guy talking about the history, well done. Well, if you have enjoyed the video, please do drop a like on the video. I want to really push these two things though. Manchester Munich Memorial Foundation website, link in the video description for that. And also the 23rd, the gala. We've got this fantastic evening at Hotel Football. It's the night before the Crystal Palace game. It's a Friday night. Lead up to Christmas, we've got a table at the United stand. There's 10 places on the table. We've got 4 up for grabs. Obviously, some of us will be there, like me and Flex. I think Rance is going, Sophie's going, a couple of others, but we've got 4 seats available. Link in the video description. Just go to my Twitter page or our Instagram page. Find the picture that's got the Holy Trinity on and the United stand on Old Trafford, and then just get a comment in below. You can do it on Twitter or on Instagram or both if you want. Get a comment in below, why you'd like to go, where you're from, and what Manchester United means to you, and we'll pick the winners for that. Those tickets are going at £100 each, so it's been the biggest giveaway we've given, really. 4 tickets on our table. We'll have a great night. If you don't fancy your chances in the competition, I still think there are some seats available, Pat, so people can go through the link in the video description as well.
They can, or they can go to Munich 58 and see gala dinner and go onto the Eventbrite page from there. I mean, you've heard me talk a little bit about this charitable work that we're doing, and what we're doing is representing real Manchester United fans who want to do something for other children around the world, not just in Manchester, in the name of the Busby Babes. Any profit, I know £100 close to Christmas, I know it's a lot of money, but you'll be well fed, you'll be well, I was going to say well drunk then, but you might but you'll get plenty to drink. You'll meet some great people, you'll hear some tremendous stories about the history, you'll hear from the Red Docs. These are serving surgeons who have taken time out of their operating schedules to come over and allow us to honour them and allow the club to honour them as well. So, they will be in the match programme, we hope. They will be at Old Trafford on the Saturday. If you don't get drawn out and you fancy it, come along. You'll have a tremendous evening. I can guarantee you that.
Definitely, and like what I would say is, look, if you don't fancy your chances in the competition, because I expect we'll get quite a few, just get yourself a ticket anyway. Come along, and I'll buy you a couple of drinks anyway, because I know it's I know £100's a lot, like Pat says, but it's going to be a bit of it's close to Christmas. Loads of United fans, loads of United chat, and I'm sure we'll all have a great night as well for what is a very, very important cause. And we'll be doing lots and lots more on the United stand with Pat and Tony and everybody else for the Manchester Munich Memorial Foundation. And a lot of people are saying, get Pat on the fan cams and get him on again. So you've done well, Pat. You've got the seal of approval. Even though you did back Jose, it's always a brave thing to do on the United stand, but I think people get where you're coming from, and that's what the channel's all about.
The person who said that they had Jose Mourinho on the camera, I'll buy that person a drink face to face if you want to come and say hello to me.
Yeah, well, obviously, yeah, Pat will be there, Tony will be there as well. We're really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing who's going to win it. But as I said, if you want to just get yourself there anyway, you might, it's only Palace on the Saturday. You might be able to sort yourself out a ticket for the match the next day and make a weekend of it. So definitely get up there on the Friday night. Hotel football links are in the video description for all that. But thanks for coming on, Pat. I've loved it, and we'd love to have you on again. And as I said, we're really committed to doing a lot of things with you guys. And because, as I say, this is why I support Manchester United. It was never a decision when you got in contact with us. It was like, yes, how do we do it? Because it's just very, very important.
And we're very grateful, Mark. It gives us a medium for reaching out to young Manchester United fans in England, all around the world. It's a great way for us to get our message out. And like I say, it's all about opinions. You might hear me talking about players. It's about opinions. It's about debate. It's all fantastic. Just always remember, one love, United forever and ever and ever. Amen.
Exactly. Well, thanks for that, Pat. And also, I'd say this from Tony and Pat as well, is that, very, very long serving Manchester United fans. And some of those fans don't like the sort of, the younger fans being a bit Mourinho out and this, that. They've both been very respectful of everybody's opinions. And I think they get the world we live in now that, everybody does have an opinion, and that's what this channel's all about. But when everyone has an opinion, as I always say to you, it's about respecting it. We all love the club. People are going to have different things. So really enjoyed it. Make sure you all drop a like on the video and get involved. As I say, everything's in the video description. The website to go and have a look at. There's the link to getting a ticket if you want to get it. And then obviously we've got the Instagram and my Twitter page where you can find the two images and put in below and get yourself entered into that. And I think we're going to let the winners know during the Bournemouth watch along at the weekend. So we'll do that then. But thanks everybody. Are you on Twitter, Pat? People are asking. I should have thought about that. I never think. Do you want any of this rabble following you?
The only thing I do is Instagram. So if you want to find me, Patrick Burns 1368.
There you go.
Come and say hello.
Well, thanks everyone for watching. Tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, we've got the Bournemouth preview. We've got some really interesting stuff from a Bournemouth fan that they've sent in, about how they're set up and stuff like that. So that'll be good tomorrow night. But thanks everyone for watching tonight. If you didn't see the video at lunchtime, we're talking a little about transfers and what Jose might be looking at January if he gets the money. But have a safe evening, everyone. If you are out trick-or-treating, watch your teeth. And we'll see you all tomorrow. Thanks for watching. And that's it, Pat. That